Yes. So, but the interesting thing that happened, the Navy actually acknowledged that I toppled the King of Spain.
That you what?
The Navy acknowledged that I toppled the King of Spain.
The Navy acknowledged that you talked with the King of Spain.
No, that I toppled the King of Spain.
Oh, toppled. T-O-P-P-L-E-D. Yes.
Yeah. What happened was I went into a pub in the centre of the Algarve, a place called Cavawero, which is actually pronounced Cave Owero. It's where my cave is, Cave Owero. Even the locals don't know where it is. But I've got the picture hanging up in a couple of the bars. You know, so people go, wow, someone lived in a cave. So I moved. I went into the Cavawero bar on Friday, the 19th of April, and someone who's connected to British and Portuguese royalty, who I've spoken to a few times, he said to me, "What do you think is going to happen next?" And I said, "The King of Spain is going to abdicate." And then I moved into the sea cave on the 29th of May 2014. And it was on Thursday night. And then I used the boardwalk, the offcuts for the boardwalk they were building to build a bed base. And the floor was just up and down about a metre difference, you know. And so, and then I used the offcuts of the boardwalk to build a bed, and then the next day I built a proper bed, full-length bed, and then the same day I went and got an air bed, put it on top, and I had a place with a frontline place with, views, 180 almost degree views, and I was 8 meters from the sea, glistening blue water, absolutely sunny, really warm at night, didn't need any bedding. It was just fantastic because I just finished the book, so I was just getting rid of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and electricity and just absolutely de-stressing, defocusing my eyes, you know. You look at the distance in the sky to do that. So that was the Thursday and the Friday. And then on the Saturday morning, King Juan Carlos announced that he was going to abdicate. That's the 31st of May 2014, and I didn't have any electricity or Wi-Fi, didn't have a radio or anything in my car, no TV, so it was all just a surprise, you know. But at the time that he announced he was going to abdicate, the Portuguese Navy came up to the sea cave. They actually came up to the sea cave. I mean, like this, here's a boat, doing 2 knots, right? Stop.
Coming for you?
Yeah, they just stopped. They stopped there, right there, about 225 meters offshore. And it was just at the distance that I couldn't read the name on the boat or the number. And then they sent a Zodiac off the deck. And the guy got on it and came right to my cliff face, and he went along the cliff face and he had a look at it to see if he could climb up my cliff face, which is 14 meters high. It's 40 feet high, vertical cliff face from the sea. Tide goes up and down about 4 meters, so it was really about 12 to 16 meters depending on the tide. And he realized that he couldn't come up the cliff face. He went back to the Portuguese Navy ship, and then they moved at 1 knot to about there, and then stopped again. So the whole time they were stopped was 35 minutes. And my Gmail address for the last 7 years, for the 7 years prior to that, is, and has been, still is, Prince of New Spain, right? And by my cell phone, they can track the Gmail Prince of New Spain, right? So King Juan Carlos of Spain is abdicating. I've got the Gmail Prince of New Spain. I've exposed him as the father of Prince William of England. He's announcing he's going to abdicate, and the Portuguese Navy turns up for 35 minutes, doing 2 knots, stops, moves at 1 knot, stops. You know? That Navy ship, and no Navy ships turned up again until my last day in the cave, which was the 28th of September. And then when they did that, they did it in such a way that they turned the boat so I could read the tail plate and get the number of the tailgate number of the Coast Guard naval ship. It was P1165, which is actually code for the work we're doing. 6 and 5 is 11, and 1165 means MM, which is Marcus Manuel. 6.5 means macrocosm, microcosm, which is the work I did, discovering the work that the Jesus did and what their graves were about, the buildings, etc. So that was interesting. So that was the Saturday, 31st of May, and then I didn't know at this stage that Juan Carlos had abdicated. So I went down to the same Capoeira bar, and the same guy was there from 6 weeks earlier. And he stands up, and he goes, "Kudos to you." I go, "What do you mean?" He said, "King Juan Carlos of Spain has announced he's going to abdicate. You said that 6 weeks ago." And no one else in the bar had heard it, so I didn't really believe him. But it was that night, that we found out he was going to abdicate. And the same guy said, his name's Mike Stewart. He said, "When do you think he's actually going to abdicate?" And I said, "Well, the official date of the copyright date for the publication of these books here is the 4th of July 2014. So I reckon he'll abdicate a month and a day before that, so it doesn't show any correlation. So that would be the 3rd of June, Tuesday. So today's Saturday, and 3 days on Tuesday, the 3rd of June. And then he officially abdicates on Tuesday, the 3rd of June.
You're astounding, my friend, just astounding.
King Juan Carlos was the president, who's the honorary president of the World Wildlife Foundation. That's a cover. King Juan Carlos of Spain was actually the president of the Almanach de Gotha, which is the record of the parentage of all of the royals, right? And he got that position so that he could avoid stating, he'd be in the controlling position to avoid stating that he was the biological father of Prince William of England, right? You get it? So when I exposed that that King Juan Carlos was the biological father of Prince William of England, and King Juan Carlos was president of the Royal Almanach de Gotha, which had to record that King Juan Carlos was the biological father of Prince William, and therefore Prince William was illegitimate and couldn't be the King of England or the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Then that is why King Juan Carlos had to abdicate, right? And the fact that he was taken to Africa, shot big game and broke his leg, and then they said Juan Carlos had to abdicate because he shot big game and he wouldn't have been caught unless he broke his leg. That's the cover story. The fact that he was the president of the Almanach de Gotha, was the biological father of Prince William of England, and did not record that in the Almanach de Gotha, which just destroys the integrity of the Almanach de Gotha, which is the lineage of royals, and destroyed the Spanish kingship. And then it brought about things, started to expose things like when Juan Carlos was 18, he shot his brother in the face and forehead at point blank range and killed him.
Was that an accident? I mean, it sounds rather extraordinary.
There's a couple of different points of view on it. And King Juan Carlos has never, ever given his point of view. He's never said, right? But Juan Carlos had just come back from military training, and he was being raised by the fascist General Francisco Franco. So General Francisco Franco might have said, okay, look, I'll give you your kingship as long as you kill your brother.
The reason for the condition being?
To affirm allegiance to Nazism.
Oh, this was a demonstration of his loyalty to Franco. That Franco would tell him to kill his brother, that's certainly an acid test of loyalty, and then he did so, and Franco made him king.
Yes.
Stunning.